What is happiness? The feeling that power increases, that resistance is overcome. Nietzsche. Picture this. You wake up, and the first thing you feel isn't joy, but a weight. That familiar pressure life's resistance pushing against you. You think, if only I could be happy. But what if that's the wrong question? What if happiness isn't the prize at the end, but a shadow that follows something deeper? You've been told your whole life to chase happiness, smile more, be content, find peace. But has it ever really worked? Or do you find yourself, again and again, feeling empty after every fleeting high? Nietzsche said, "Joy is only a symptom of the feeling of attained power. One does not strive for joy. Joy accompanies." What if you stopped chasing the symptom and started seeking the cause? Let's go back. Think about your childhood. Maybe you remember moments of laughter, but also the sting of being told no, the frustration of being small, powerless. Did you ever notice how alive you felt when you finally did something hard, tied your shoes, rode a bike, stood up for yourself? That surge wasn't happiness. It was power, the sense that you could shape your world, even a little. But somewhere along the way, you learned to avoid struggle, to seek comfort, to think that pain meant you were failing. Yet Nietzsche saw suffering not as a curse, but as a signpost. He said, "Suffering is defined by resistance. If we value power, we must also value suffering as it is an essential ingredient of power." Have you ever thought of your pain as proof that you're alive, that you're growing? We're taught to see happiness as the goal. But what if happiness is just a byproduct, like sweat after a hard run? You can't catch it by standing still. You have to move, to struggle, to overcome. Nietzsche called this the will to power, not just power over others, but power over yourself, the drive to become more than you were yesterday, to face resistance, not run from it, to see every obstacle as a chance to grow. Have you noticed how the happiest moments in your life came after you conquered something difficult? Graduation, finishing a project, healing from heartbreak. The joy wasn't in the comfort, it was in the climb. But here's the trap. We're addicted to comfort. We scroll, we numb, we seek easy pleasure. And every time we do, we shrink a little inside. We betray the part of us that wants to fight, to create, to risk. Nietzsche warned, man should not strive after happiness, because when you make happiness the goal, you stop growing, you stop wanting change, you settle, and deep down, you know you're meant for more. So why do we cling to happiness? Maybe it's fear. The inner child in us still wants to be safe, to be held. But the shadow, the part we hide, knows that safety can become a prison. That real life is found at the edge, where risk and resistance meet. Imagine your life as a river. If you dam it up, seeking only calm, the water stagnates. But if you let it flow, crashing over rocks, it carves canyons. It shapes the world. What if you stopped asking, "How can I be happy?" and started asking, "How can I grow stronger?" What if every setback was fuel, every pain a teacher? Here's the first step. Stop justifying your comfort. Notice every time you make an excuse to avoid the hard thing. Catch yourself. Ask, am I choosing comfort over growth? Second, start affirming your power. Every morning, remind yourself, I am here to overcome. I am here to grow. Write it down. Say it out loud. Let it become your mantra. Third, choose your peace, not the peace of avoidance, but the peace that comes after the storm, the peace of knowing you faced your fears and survived. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Integration means owning your shadow, your hunger for power, your need to struggle. This is the hard truth. Happiness isn't the goal. Power is. Not domination, but self-mastery. The power to shape your life, to face resistance, to grow, So, will you keep chasing happiness, always just out of reach? Or will you seek power, the kind that comes from overcoming, from risking, from living fully? Write this down. I choose growth over comfort. I choose power over happiness. If you're ready to walk this path, to stop settling, to start growing, stay with me. This is just the beginning. Subscribe, join the journey. Your power is waiting. Let's start with a question that bites. What if everything you've been taught about happiness is a distraction from your real potential? You see, Nietzsche didn't just challenge the world. He challenged the very core of what you think you want. He saw that most people run in circles, chasing happiness like children chasing their shadows. But what if happiness is not the goal, but the echo of something far more vital? Let's get honest. Look at your life. The routines, the habits, the things you tell yourself will make you happy. How often do you feel truly alive? Is it when you're comfortable or when you're tested? Nietzsche's will to power isn't about crushing others or grabbing control. It's about self-determination, the fire in your gut to shape your own world. It's about actualizing your will, not just surviving, but thriving, even when the world pushes back. Think about it. Why does a child laugh after climbing a tree, scraped knees and all? Why does your heart race when you finally speak your mind, even if your voice shakes? It's not comfort that makes you feel alive. It's overcoming. It's the expansion of your own strength. Nietzsche drew a line between Kraft, raw force, and Macht, power, that's channeled, refined, and creative. You have both inside you. But most people never move past raw strength. They never learn to channel it, to turn it into something that can build worlds. Here's a deeper truth. The will to power is not about dominance. It's about self-overcoming. It's about becoming your own master, not someone else's subject. So many of us get stuck thinking life is about pleasure, about avoiding pain. But Nietzsche saw that the real drive, the one that makes you grow, is the urge to overcome resistance. It's not about dodging discomfort. It's about seeking out the things that challenge you, because that's where you find your edge. You know those moments when you're frustrated, when nothing seems to work? That's not failure. That's the raw material of growth. Nietzsche would say, suffering isn't an obstacle, it's the path. Let's talk about suffering. Most people run from it. They numb it, deny it, blame others. But what if suffering is the gym where your spirit trains? What if every setback is a weight you lift, making you stronger each time? Nietzsche believed that if you want to live fully, you have to embrace resistance. You have to see suffering as a necessary ingredient, not a punishment, but a gift. Here's a psychological insight. Your shadow, the parts of yourself you hide, deny, or fear, holds untapped strength. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim your power. You stop being ruled by fear and start living from your deepest will. Let's get practical. First, stop justifying your avoidance. Every time you catch yourself making excuses, pause. Ask, what am I really afraid of? Write it down. Face it. Second, start affirming your creative power. Set a small, real goal today. Something that stretches you, even a little. It could be speaking up, starting a project, or just saying no when you mean it. Notice how your energy shifts when you act from your will. Third, choose your own meaning. Nietzsche rejected the idea of a true world somewhere else, a heaven, a utopia, a perfect future. He said, this world with all its mess and pain is the only one you get. So make it yours. Find meaning in the struggle, not in the escape. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to grow, to create, to overcome. Happiness? It's just the feeling that comes when you realize you're getting stronger. Write this down. I choose to grow through resistance. I choose to create my own meaning. If you're ready to stop chasing shadows and start building your own strength, stay with me. Subscribe, join the journey. This is how you become who you were meant to be. Let's get real about something deeper. What if the emptiness you feel isn't about lacking happiness, but about lacking a sense of power over your own life? Nietzsche saw that the world is full of people chasing satisfaction, but few ever feel fulfilled. Why? Because satisfaction fades. It's not the end result that matters. It's the process, the struggle, the climb. He called it the will to power, not about controlling others, but about mastering yourself, expanding your abilities, and pushing past your own limits. Think about the times you felt most alive. Was it when things were easy? Or was it when you faced something that scared you and you did it anyway? There's a reason why athletes, creators, and innovators keep moving the goalposts. It's not just about winning once. It's about the cycle of setting a challenge, overcoming it, and then looking for the next mountain to climb. Nietzsche's philosophy isn't just for philosophers. It's for anyone who's ever felt stuck, lost, or numb. He believed that growth only happens when you encounter resistance and decide to face it head-on. Have you noticed how quickly happiness disappears after you achieve something? You graduate, get the job, win the game, and then what? The thrill fades, and you're left searching for the next thing. Nietzsche argued that this is natural. The game of resistance and victory is endless. Life is a circle of striving, overcoming, and striving again. There's no final goal, only the joy of becoming stronger each time. If you're waiting for life to get easier, you'll wait forever, because the real meaning comes from the struggle, not the comfort. Let's talk about suffering. Most people see suffering as something to avoid, but Nietzsche saw it as the raw material of greatness. If you value power, you must also value suffering. It's the resistance that makes you grow. Here's a psychological insight. Every time you avoid a challenge, you reinforce a belief that you're powerless. But every time you face resistance, even if you fail, you build resilience. You show your inner child, the part of you that still fears the dark, that you're capable of more. Nietzsche's answer to nihilism, the sense that life has no meaning, was not to give up, but to create your own meaning through acts of courage, creation, and self-overcoming. This is how entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders keep moving forward. They don't settle for comfort. They use their ambition as fuel for continuous transformation. So how do you put this into practice? Stop justifying your stagnation. Notice when you settle for good enough instead of pushing for better. Ask yourself, what resistance am I avoiding right now? Write it down. Start affirming your capacity for growth. Set a new challenge today, even a small one. It could be learning something new, having a hard conversation, or starting a project you've put off. Feel the discomfort, and do it anyway. Choose to see suffering as your ally. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can I use this to grow? Every obstacle is a chance to build your power. Nietzsche said, life itself is will to power. Self-preservation is only one of the indirect and most infrequent consequences of this. You're not here just to survive. You're here to expand, to create, to overcome. Write this down. I choose to seek power through challenge. I embrace resistance as my path to growth. If you're ready to stop chasing happiness and start building real strength, stay with me. Subscribe, join the journey. Your next level is waiting. Let's look at greatness, real greatness. Not the kind that's comfortable, but the kind that leaves a mark on the world. Ask yourself, have you ever heard of anyone truly great who lived just to be happy? Nietzsche believed that if you only chase happiness, you destroy your capacity for greatness. Think of people like Steve Jobs or Socrates. If they had chosen comfort, would they have changed the world? Would they have risked failure, criticism, even death, just for a fleeting sense of happiness? Nietzsche's challenge is sharp. He asks, what is good? Everything that heightens the feeling of power in man, the will to power, power itself. What is bad? Everything that is born of weakness. He's not talking about cruelty. He's talking about the strength to create, to endure, to pursue something bigger than pleasure. Picture the cycle of power. You set a goal, face resistance, overcome it, and then start again. There is no finish line, just the joy that comes from growing, from becoming more than you were yesterday. Now think about suffering. Most people see it as something to escape. But Nietzsche flips this idea. He says suffering is what gives your life meaning. Without resistance, there's no growth. Without pain, there's no power. If you want to avoid nihilism, that hollow feeling that nothing matters, then you must find meaning in struggle, not in comfort. Suffering isn't a punishment. It's the raw material for greatness. Here's a twist. Even those who seem to reject power, ascetics, monks, people who renounce the world, are still driven by the will to power. Their self-denial is just another way of seeking mastery, this time over themselves instead of others. So, what does this mean for you? Stop justifying your smallness. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you shrink your world. Notice where you're settling for less, and ask yourself, am I avoiding the struggle that would make me great? Start affirming your pursuit of meaning. Set a goal that scares you, not because it's easy, but because it matters. Remind yourself, the path to greatness is paved with resistance. Choose to value your suffering. Don't run from it. Use it. Ask, what can this pain teach me? How can it make me stronger? Nietzsche's hard truth is this. Happiness is not the prize. It's the glow that follows when you have fought for something real, when you have chosen meaning over comfort, power over peace. Write this down. I choose meaning over comfort. I choose greatness over happiness. If you're ready to live for more than just happiness, to build something that lasts, subscribe, stay with me. This is how you become unforgettable. Let's take a step back and ask, what if power is not just a personal quest, but a lens for understanding the whole world? Nietzsche didn't just see the will to power as a human trait. He saw it as the very pulse of reality. He wrote, "The world is the will to power, and nothing besides." This isn't just philosophy. It's a radical way of seeing. Every living thing, every force in nature is striving to grow, to expand, to express itself. Think about nature. A tree pushes through concrete, reaching for the sun. A river carves through mountains, shaping the land. It's not about happiness. It's about overcoming resistance, about becoming more than you were before. Nietzsche's idea was influenced by thinkers like Schopenhauer, who saw a will to live in all things. But Nietzsche took it further. He believed that life isn't just about surviving, it's about expressing strength, creativity, and force. Now, let's bring it back to you. If the will to power is the engine of life, then your deepest drive isn't to be safe or content. It's to expand, to create, to test your limits. That's why comfort feels empty after a while. You're wired for more. But here's the twist. Nietzsche warned against confusing power with domination over others. He made a distinction between craft, raw strength, and Macht, power that's refined, channeled, and creative. True power is about self-overcoming, about taking your inner strength and turning it into something new. This is where many people get stuck. They think power means control, or ego, or winning at someone else's expense. But Nietzsche's power is about transformation, about using every challenge, every resistance as fuel for growth. Let's get practical. Stop justifying your limitations. Every time you tell yourself, that's just how I am, you're denying your own potential for transformation. Catch yourself. Ask, what could I become if I stopped making excuses? Start affirming your creative drive. Pick one area of your life, work, art, relationships, and ask, how can I express more of my strength here? Don't wait for permission. Create your own path. Choose to see the world as a field of possibilities, not threats. Every resistance is an invitation to grow. Every obstacle is a chance to turn raw strength into creative power. Nietzsche's hard truth is that the world doesn't owe you happiness, but it does offer you endless opportunities to become more, to expand, to create, to leave your mark. Write this down. I choose to see resistance as my path to transformation. I choose to create, not just survive. If this perspective stirs something in you, if you're ready to see the world and yourself through the lens of power, subscribe and stay with me. This is the journey of becoming.